Hello, everyone. So we're meeting online today instead of in the classroom. Let me explain to you what we're going to do for the rest of the semester. So the first is we're going to finish marker, possibly in 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks if there's challenge to finish in 2.5 weeks. But I really prefer 2.5 weeks, and then we will do another 2.5 weeks Photoshop, which will run by Miriam, also online. And then the rest of the semester, 2 weeks plus the exam week is for the final project, which could be a mixed media that very, very likely is going to be your studio project. So we're just going to support, how you render a nice piece of drawing for your studio project. So that's the 3 portions for the rest of the semester. In case we're not meeting in class, that's what will happen. And I have a shared folder with all of you, so you should all see the shared folder and check. And that's also where you submit your work. Yeah, so the first is the marker portion, which is 2.5 weeks. You have 2 projects to finish. Okay, it seemed to be fast, but in a way, each class is 3 hours, so each week 6 hours. It's more than enough, 2.5 weeks, yeah. So the first one is to draw from a photo that you found. This one could be anywhere you found, interior space that attracts your attention. It doesn't have to be your own photo. So font, and on the other hand, you could also use the same drawing that I have already done. In that case, you would have the line work that I shared with you already. After this project, we're going to do one project. We will render from your own photo. I did a collection of drawings, and you are going to do one. I did a collection for Qatar. So, like this. So you would do one of them. You would just do one. You can do anything as you wish, interior, exterior, or even something rather artistic. Not interior, not exterior object or anything. But it has to be your own photo. I did because I made this effort to draw memories of Qatar, and you can draw anything as you wish. Probably would be a good idea if you share the photo with me before you draw, but this project has to be your own photo. So, which means you have the full intellectual property. And if in the future you like, for example, I'm turning this into a deck of postcard, if you can actually sell it because it's your own work, starting from the photo all the way to the completion. It is all yours, so you can make it. You can sell it. Otherwise, if you draw something that you found online, such as this one, it's just a practice. But to start with this one, I'll talk about more about the second project, of course, in my next lecture. So let's focus for now the first project. Okay, this is really a practice on color, which means you have something, possibly this one or something else that's your choice. That original photo has a very sophisticated color, and then you interpret it. Yeah. So each artistic making, let me share with you the slides. Yeah. So so this is the photo. Okay, make it a little smaller. Is this so big? Okay. Yeah, so this is the original photo, right? Which has quite a bit of color and a nice mood. So that would require enough contrast. In a way, you really enjoy seeing the photo. That's the or you really enjoy to be in that space. That's the beginning of any artistic creation, because if you don't like it, you would not have enough interest to render. Of course, you could also use you could use the same one. Yeah, just use it as a practice on color. I think that's good enough. So if you use the same one, you would, I mean, even you're using a different one, to start with, we are going to first apply some light marker colors. Apply it with strength. Yeah, apply it with strength. Not little tiny marker stroke, but with strength. Okay, and more colors, so you can see. First, a kind of a peach color, and then a little bit very light greenish, and a little bit of green. Sorry, a little bit of blue, and more colors, and some details here and there, especially this part. So, what are the colors here? Pinkish color, which is all over the place. The same pinkish color, which you can see all over the place, and a little bit greenish color, and a little bit of green, a little bit of blue, okay, and a little bit of brownish color. So there's mix of color. There's 5 or 6 colors in some of the place you've seen, but pinkish color, if you don't have the pinkish color, you could also use color pencil, okay. Cartridge paper, the cartridge paper that I'm using to produce this work is sort of good enough if you use color pencil and then you use a little brush and you know, other colors wash. So you could apply a little bit of water, but not a lot of water, because otherwise it will wrinkle. So you could apply color pencil. If you don't have the same pinkish color, you can use color pencil. Or you could make a color that you think is good enough for this space. You could replace the pinkish color with, I don't know, blue or light green. You know, make your own color, that's fine. Color pencil is a good substitute if you don't have enough markers. And you will see that there are some, so moving on, there's some color pencils here and there. When you apply markers, you can also apply markers. For example, here, that's markers too. Yeah, it's very thin. It doesn't have to be always a broad stroke. Here is a little bit of color pencil to make the story, to create patterns. Moving on, okay, so here you see basically each time you render the whole drawing, yeah? You render the whole thing, you just keep carving it out. So I believe I've done something here, and next step I've done something here, and next step you know, adding a little bit of darker color. So each time you would finish rendering the whole drawing, you just render with more details. So let's look at this, okay? Some bluish color, some brownish, yellowish color, and mingle the color. If you found one color, you should use all over the place. So here is my garbage bin, which means if I found a color, I apply it here, I would also apply it here, because here the fireplace is has a lot of colors. I kind of call it the garbage bin because I'm using almost all the color I use for this drawing, and it would appear somewhere in the fireplace. So now I have orange and maybe reddish. This is not one color. I think this is definitely 2 colors at least. Yeah. Okay, looking at this, there's some orange color, but some reddish color, light reddish color on it. And of course, very dark color that you see. This color, I want to call your attention. Most people do not dare to use this color. This is, what is this, PM42. It's very good if you would make your shadow and shade cool color. And of course, because see, all of this is warmish color, so that the shadow and the shade, or a lot of shadow you will see, is really cool color. And the cool color is this very saturated blue. It's not cool gray, it's actually this color. This is magic. And you kind of already see it here and there. Okay, so what else? And some green color, you know, light green, dark green, blue. There's more colors almost everywhere, you know, so at least the 3 different markers, dark, light, and maybe a little bit cool gray or blue, light blue, and colors here, okay? And that's pretty close to finish, actually. Yeah, there's a little bit of cool gray here. And of course, more color here, if you look at the difference. And moving on, okay, this is a little blurrish. So, yeah, but you pretty much see. And I think the development is on the carpet. The carpet was kind of muddy and very boring. And this one, there's more contrast, especially because I've put darker color, which is actually this blue for shadow and shade. And here also, so if you look at this one and this one, you will see the difference is here on the shadow and the shade. I think we can see clear, a little bit clear here. And of course, there's more, eventually the touch up, there's some color pencil here and there, you know, if you zoom in, you would see details that I carved out with some color pencil. Here also. Probably, and a little bit of color pencil, touching and making the texture. And lightening up with some lighter color, which I use a silver marker, which I think you probably don't have. If you don't have, you could use, for example, whatever the lighter stroke that's on the carpet, you could use a little brush and plus some gouache color. So wrong direction, okay, gouache, a little tube. Yeah, you could use that, but avoid using a lot of water, because if you just use a cartridge paper or regular paper, it would not hold a lot of water. The paper would wrinkle. So, okay. And the colors, and basically this is a practice on color and your observation, how sensitive you are about color. You can see this is a warm and cool contrast, which you would need to make the contrast. And here is also warm and cool contrast. Basically, the furniture is sort of a warm color, and the shadow and the shade is very cool color. So that's my interpretation. And you might have a different interpretation. Here, the fireplace is really warm, but the contrast right next to it is blue. Yeah. So play with the color and have fun with it. Understand color and understand the colors are popping out everywhere. You know, the same color is here, is here, is here, is here, and it's here. It's all over the place. So only if you do that, the whole drawing will pretty much be together. They will hold together. And sometimes a little bit exciting, very saturated the color that's popping out. That's also a fun thing to do. You know, you don't want people to feel really boring. So you will have a little bit of color here and there, which is kind of really saturated and very strong contrast. That's fine. And you could interpret a slightly different than my interpretation. Yeah, you don't have to all draw the same. You might, there's actually color here that I didn't see. And this is very dark. You could probably make a different interpretation based on what you have, the markers you have. Do use marker, color pencils, and then normally if it's a water-based color pencil, you could also, you know, use a little brush after you apply the pencil. You could use a brush with a little bit of water and then to mingle the color, and you could use wash. So get yourself prepared with all the artistic tools you have. You might mess around and then you might eventually finish. So normally if you mess around for, let's say, half hour, just kind of to get a taste of color and the energy of the drawing, you may not continue with the first try. You may start a new one. If you are going to use my line work, which I shared in the folder, you may need a printer, or otherwise you could also zoom, for example, zoom big enough and trace over your own computer screen, which is not easy to do, but you can do it. Yeah, sometimes I flip my computer so it's kind of upside down in the situation that the screen is, or if you have a big pad, you know, put the drawing on the pad because they already have a light, so it's kind of like a light box. So whatever how you do, if you have a printer, use a printer. If you don't have a printer, you use your computer screen to trace it over. If you don't need to trace the, you know, with a print that you can right away print the line work and then start to render. That's basically for today, for this project. And the due date is next Tuesday at 5 p.m. I would probably call a Zoom meeting so everybody will get together next Tuesday, and do drop me emails, or, you know, or even invite me to a private Zoom conference with just you. And so that would be the way that we communicate. We can use Zoom. I found it to be very good. I'm making the lecture using Zoom. So I just to before we finish, I probably will call a meeting on next Tuesday before, or maybe in the beginning of the class, 2 o'clock. So, you know, we get together, we chit chat a little bit through Zoom meeting, and then by 5 o'clock is the due date for this project next Tuesday. Okay, enjoy today and enjoy staying at home, enjoy coffee, enjoy food. Do not go out, especially meeting with a big number of people. So, so that is all about today. And yeah, do drop me email if you have any questions.